Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to part 9 of this Baldur's Gate 3 Trophy and Achievement Guide and Walkthrough. We just recruited Karlach and now we're following her up to where her little side quest is taking us. It's a side quest here called Hunt the Devil. Now before we're actually going to go up there and do it, we're going to travel back to our camp so that we can put her onto our party. So back at camp, we're going to run over and we can just choose any party member that we want to just to move them out of our party and then put Karlach in. It doesn't really matter who you choose, so I'm just going to go to Shadowheart and talk to her.
We may have to increase our camp provisions now that we have Karlach along for the journey. Those muscles don't run on fresh air, I'll wager. Still, she'll be useful in a fight.
We should journey separately for now. I'll look for you here if I need you again.
If you're sure.
I'm sure.
Fine. I'll be here whenever you rediscover your taste in company.
Now that we have room in our party for Karlach, let's go talk to her. She's found near the middle of camp.
Why are we slowing down?
In your expert opinion, what's the best way to kill a devil?
Depends on the type. Ice devils hate an inferno, but that's an easy one. Orthons love projectiles. What they don't love is getting their bombs lobbed right back in their faces. Demons, on the other hand, every demon is absolutely singular. You can't ever think you've got them typed out. Sharp instincts, sharp weapons, and a knack for improvisation. That's the only way to survive them. Anyway, what were we talking about?
About those paladins you want us to confront.
Yeah. Let's go straight there. Whatever those fucks are getting up to, it's nothing good. Just to say, by the way, they're not really paladins. Lackeys of the Archdevil playing dress-up as paladins of Tyr. No honor among devils.
Come on, we're heading out.
Let's go, go, go.
Now that Karlach is in our party, we can go ahead and leave camp. There's no need to do a long rest or anything. We can leave right from the menu there. And now before we go up this ladder, we're going to level her up. So at level 2, she does gain some extra health. She also gets danger sense, where she can have an advantage on dexterity saving throws against trap spells and surfaces. And she gets reckless attack, where on our next turn, you have an advantage on attack rolls, but enemies also have an advantage against you. So kind of a high risk and high reward situation here. We also make it to level 3 where we get access to a specialization. There are 3 choices to choose from here. We also get an increase to our health, we get an additional rage charge, and depending on which of these specializations you get, you can choose to speak with animals, and you'll also gain a passive ability with the bestial heart. So now let's look at the 3 different options that we have for specializations. There's the Wild Heart, which allows us to attune with nature. We get to choose the animal heart to represent us, and that gives us some passive bonuses. We also get the Speak with Animals ability, and we gain a passive there. The Berserker allows us to go into a frenzy, and what that does is it gives us resistance to physical damage and advantage against strength checks and saves. It lasts for 10 turns, and that rage ends if we don't deal or receive damage in that turn. We also get access to the Frenzied Strike and Enraged Throw ability just for some extra damage. And finally, we have the Wild Magic. This is, of course, more aligned with magic. We get the Rage Wild Magic, where we enter a rage that causes a random magical effect, and we gain some resistances, as well as magic awareness, which gives bonuses to our party members near us. I am going to choose the Berserker class, and I also get the Legacy of Avernus Searing Smite ability, just to deal some extra damage as well. So with that all locked in, we are good to go, and we're going to begin to climb up this ladder. Let's start by going over toward the right side, and we can go into this door here. There's going to be someone inside who recognizes us. This is Cyrell.
Ye gods, come back for us, have you, devil? Anders, the beast has returned.
There's not much that you can do in this room. She did call out for Anders, so we're going to run around, and we're going to then get in a fight with him. As you run along, there is an automatic save right around this area, and if you open these shabby wooden doors, you can't get through. It's just blocked off. Instead, go through this door and get a cutscene.
Please, no more. Leave us in peace, and we shall leave you in kind.
Cut the crap, Anders. I know what you are.
Don't let her hurt us. Please, we just want to go home.
Insight. Assess his posture, his eyes. Is he telling the truth? Here we have a skill check looking for a 10. You can see I have a -1 to my bonuses because I'm bloodless after Astarion bit me, but I rolled a 20 anyway for a critical success.
There's something in the squint of his eye. You suspect he's lying.
Enough of this charade. I know who you really are.
Enough! Enough! I'll not play pretend anymore. Karlach, you're going home in pieces if needs must. And you'll soon learn what it means to ally yourself with the likes of this garbage.
The furnace was never my home. It was my prison. I'm free now. And I'm never going back!
Alright, here we have a fight. There are only 3 enemies here. There's 2 in the room right ahead of us, and then there's going to be the woman over on the right side, that Sidrel woman that we talked to originally. So she isn't a part of the fight right now. She's going to run up and around to get to us. So what we're going to do instead is to just start working our way into this room here. I don't have a lot of good options here with Astarion, so I'm just going to equip a bow on him. We do have this short bow, so we'll go ahead and equip that on him. Equipping that bow used up my normal action, so I can't attack this turn, but I have this vampiric bite. It's a new ability that I have because now that I know that Astarion is a vampire, and what that does is I attack the enemy. I can do some damage as long as the enemy is not sleeping or if I'm not hiding, and I get to regain a little bit of health. So that's kind of a cool ability. I'm just going to pass the rest of this turn here. The enemy gets a turn to attack, and then we're going to take the monk and we're going to run in and start attacking the guy behind the table here. This is Anders, so let's run around and do an unarmed strike. Does some decent damage. Let's follow that up with another unarmed strike. Okay, after that, it's going to be Anders' turn. He counterattacks and does some pretty serious damage against me. Luckily, I get a big miss the second time around. Okay, it's Lae'zel's turn. Let's move her up a little bit. And we're going to kind of just park her right around here by the door, and then we're going to take a shot using her bow. So let's use a ranged attack. We'll just target Anders over here, and we'll take an attack against him. Nice 7 damage on that, so we're whittling him down, and now it's going to be Karlach's turn. We can move her up a little bit, and we can do an attack against Tyrion. That was some decent damage. Now let's use our Frenzy ability as the bonus action, and this will last for 10 turns. All we have to do to maintain it is to either receive or take damage each turn. That's going to do it for Karlach's turn. Now let's move it over to Cyril. She's going to use mirror images. That makes it a lot harder to hit her, and then she's going to come up and start working her way toward that room. So she's on the roof now, and the door is just a little bit ahead and to the left of where she is currently. So now we have Astarion, and we're going to stay hidden back in this area. They don't know where we are, and we're going to now use our sneak attack ranged, and that does some really good damage and takes out Anders over here. Let's bring Astarion inside the room. Ultimately, what we're going to do is park him right around here, and our goal is to get up the ladder here. If we can go up the ladder, then we can run along the walkway up top to get to where Cyril is. Karlach takes a hit from the enemy, not a big deal though. She has a pretty large HP pool. Now let's move the monk around and we'll attack this enemy. The first attack hits. Now let's use the bonus action for an unarmed strike. That's a big miss, unfortunately, and that's going to end his turn. Now we're going to use Lae'zel to do another ranged attack against the enemy. That hits, and then the enemy is pretty low on HP at this point. Now we're going to move Lae'zel over here and start to go up the ladder. Moving on, it's going to be Karlach's turn here, so we're going to just follow that up with a normal attack here, and that enemy is out of the way. Now let's take Karlach and move her over by the ladder.
Soldier.
We'll have her climb up as well, so now we have 2 characters up at the top of here, and we'll just kind of get her out of the way a little bit. It's now Cyril's turn. She's going to dash and try to get inside this door so that we'll be able to see her. And now for Astarion, unfortunately she is too far above us and there's that walkway in the way, so even if we try to attack from down here, she just isn't visible. So unfortunately we can't do anything right now. We're going to have to move him up the ladder and then we can get a better shot. So let's go ahead, we'll just use a normal range attack and we're going to attack her straight down this walkway. We don't really have any advantage here because we're not hiding, but we do have the happy bonus because he did feed recently, and then we're going to land that hit and then put him over in the corner here. Well, now it's going to be the monk's turn. Let's move him over and we're going to get him upstairs. So we'll use the ladder and go up. We do have some movement yet, so let's just get him as close as possible. And now we'll use something that we haven't used before, and that's patient defense, a bonus action that gives an enemy a disadvantage when they're trying to attack us and an advantage when we're doing a dexterity saving throw. Now let's move it over toward Lae'zel. We're going to take another shot against her, and we get a miss. Unfortunately, those mirror images make it a little bit harder for us to hit. So now that it's Karlach's turn, let's move her a little bit closer up by these boxes here. And then she does have a crossbow that she comes equipped with. She also has an action called Piercing Shot, and we're going to use that to attack Cyrell, and we'll see if it connects. Well, it certainly does. It did 6, inflicts gaping wounds as well, so Cyrell is in really bad shape. She's going to actually use the hold spell to keep Karlach in place, and now we're going to have our turn again. So let's just move up a little bit. Not a whole lot that we can do with our characters right now, so we'll just move Lae'zel up, and then Astarion, yeah, he's not too helpful right now either, so we're just going to move it over to the monk. And now we're going to use another bonus action called Step of the Wind Dash that will allow us to run all the way right next to the enemy. We get huge movement with this. Now Cyrell only has 3 HP remaining, so we only need 1 attack to hit. Unfortunately, we do miss right here. Kind of a bummer, so we're going to move on from here. And now we're just going to have Cyrell attack us with some acid, but she completely misses from point blank range, giving the monk another opportunity to finish the fight, and Lae'zel gets an inspiration point.
Fuck them. Fuck Zariel. I won't go back. I'm never going back. And if any of Mummy's little friends want to pick up where the others left off, they'll find nothing but a pile of ash.
Zariel won't get near you again. We'll make sure of that.
That's right, she won't. She can't. She couldn't even lay a finger.
Alright, let's loot Cyrell's body. She does have a couple scrolls of Revivify. That's really nice for us. Don't run through this acid. Instead, let's jump over it so that we aren't taking some extra damage here. And now we can just run back around here, and we're going to go down the ladder. So from here, let's run over toward this side. We're going to go over here and loot the enemies. The Anders guy back behind the table, he actually has a nice green weapon for us. This is the Sword of Justice. So be sure to loot that one. And then what we're going to do is go through the door on the far side. Karlach's going to be shooting some flaming crossbow bolts all over the place, just trying to burn this place to the ground. We want to get out of here before we take too much damage from all the fire on the ground. So just get out of here, and then we're going to wait for her outside. Alright, now we can talk to her.
Whew. Had to let off a little steam after facing off with those ignots. Granted, the fire's lasting a little longer than it should. How do I look?
We need to romance her for a trophy, so let's say hot, and she'll approve.
Careful, soldier. If I burn any hotter, I might explode. Hear that? Infernal engine for a heart. Lets me burn as hot as the hells. Seems to be running in overdrive since I left Avernus. Won't be seeing my mechanic anytime soon, so I'll just make the most of the extra heat. Just don't get too close, till I've found a way to calm it down.
How the hells did you get an infernal engine for a heart?
High pain tolerance, and a dynamic duo of truly shitty bosses. But it's a bit early in the game to be getting into tragic backstories. Let's save the Scar show for later, after we've worked up an appetite for tragedy. Meanwhile, I'll need to find someone who can tune up my engine sooner rather than later. Believe me when I say this thing is hot. The first time I faced down those paladins, they let slip there was an infernal mechanic in the area. A Tiefling. He might be able to stabilize things, if I can find him.
There's some Tieflings holed up in a druid's grove nearby. We might look there.
Sounds like a good lead. Hopefully our guy will be among them. A tune-up would do this old tub a world of good.
Going along the questline to fix Karlach's infernal engine heart is required in order to romance her, so we are going to start working on that as well. What we want to do is head on over toward the Emerald Grove Environs fast travel point that is to the southeast of where we currently are. Now before going in, we're going to do something for a trophy. If you open up the menu going to your Illithid powers in the upper right hand side, we can see a brain, and what we can do is to use the tadpoles that we have available to unlock some different abilities here. So choose any ability you want. I'm going to choose Force Tunnel, and when I learn it, then I also get the Expand Your Mind trophy or achievement. So congratulations on that. We can also learn another ability as it unlocks kind of a branch going out from here. So let's learn the Repulsor one as well. Now, you can use these on any of your characters. It doesn't have to be your main character, but you do share tadpoles amongst them all. So I use the 2 tadpoles on my monk, and now we're going to run around the path, and we're going to go back into the Emerald Grove. Just remember that when you get to the main gate, you just have to stand in front of it for a second for it to open up. And once the gate opens up, we can just run straight ahead. We're going to get down kind of by where this merchant is, so run down here, and then what we want to do is ultimately go over toward the left-hand side. So as we get down by the merchant, we see the hollow pop up. We'll just turn left at this point and run down the path. As we go down, there's different little shops and stalls around here. We're going to go to the second one on the left. So here's the first one on the left, and now we'll go past these barrels. And there's the second one on the left, and we're going to talk to the guy in the back here.
Thought I sensed an infernal around here. But you aren't from Elturel. What's your story?
I spent a good bit of time in the Hells. Enlisted against my will by the Archdevil Zariel. Same as you, I suppose, if you're from Elturel. The devils were delighted when your city was swallowed up. I thought they had you for keeps. Glad you got out.
I got lucky. It looks like you did too. And you brought some infernal machinery with you.
A little gift from Zariel. Keeps me burning hot.
Very hot by the smell of it. Might be burning out a piston ring or leaking oil. Mind if I take a listen?
Be my guest. But don't get too close or your eyes will melt shut.
Phew! You really are burning up. Whoever put that engine together tried to house metallurgized Dammon valves inside a Ragnak's alloy casement. Very risky. I might be able to help, but I'd need infernal iron and a prayer that my hammer will survive the work. That thing isn't meant to operate outside of Ernest. I'm not sure how much longer it'll keep running the way it's going.
Will you be able to turn down the temperature a little? Worried I'm gonna go in for a handshake and singe someone's arm off one of these days.
I'd worry about surviving the night first. But help one, help both. If we can cool you off, it'll stabilize your engine and allow you to touch whomever you please.
Where should we look for infernal iron?
I've sensed some during our travels. It has a pull to it. Absolutely magnetic, once you know what you're looking for. I can show you where I'd look.
We'll keep our eyes open for some iron.
Meanwhile, I've still got plenty of weapons and armor in stock if you're looking to load up.
He does have some pretty good equipment, especially along the line of bows, so go ahead and grab 1 or 2 for your own characters, and all you have to do is to trade him your old stuff that you're not using, and as long as your offer is slightly higher than his offer, he should accept it, and then you'll have some new equipment on your side.
Forged from the heart.
Before proceeding, just make sure that you do equip whatever you have recently purchased or traded for. So now we have Astarion with his new longbow. Now we're going to run up and we're going to go over toward the right side. There's a man standing right next to these stairs here. Go talk to him. This is Zorru.
By Mordai's eyes, another one. My friend's blood not enough. Come to rip me open too.
In Kresh Kalir, a formal greeting begins with a bow.
Is this monster with you?
Yes, and I suggest you do as she says.
Lower.
That's enough, Lae'zel. I'll take it from here.
You dare interrupt? Has the tadpole ravaged your senses?
Enough, Lae'zel. You will be silent. That does cause Lae'zel to disapprove. However, if you push Zorru too hard, then Karlach disapproves, and that's worse for us. Now we'll say, you can breathe again. I won't let her hurt you.
Thanks. What do you want from me?
Information. Where did you see the Githyanki?
On the road to Baldur's Gate, near the mountain pass. Saw us, for we saw it. Jammed its blade through Yul's belly, straight to the other side. And I just ran.
The map. Show me.
Alright, Lae'zel, you got what you needed.
Yes. Your mediocre interrogation technique notwithstanding.
After that conversation, Zorru is going to run off, and Lae'zel wants to talk to us. You can see that big exclamation mark over her head.
Gods, deliver me.
The last time a subordinate questioned my judgment, I ate tongue stew that very night.
If you finish scowling at me, what comes next?
The Tiefling was clear. If there are Githyanki west of here, that must be our objective. Purification cannot wait.
There's no real need to continue this conversation, so you can just leave. So from here, there's a couple of crates and boxes and things right next to you. Go ahead and we can just take this bedroll, and then we can go ahead and loot this backpack here. You always want to be collecting as much alcohol as possible, because there is a trophy and achievement related to doing a long rest using only alcohol, and we have to get ourselves drunk later on for a different trophy. So always be looking around and taking as much alcohol as you can. Now we're going to run along this path here, and we're going to run down to where Arabella is next to her family. You can see her mother and father by her, and if we talk to them, then we can have a little dialogue and get a reward for saving her earlier.
You ever scare me like that again, and I'll feed you to a gnoll.
Mom, I'm fine. Stop it.
Our little Hellion told us what happened. Thank you. Don't know what we'd do without her.
I hope we'll meet again under better circumstances.
Likewise. Arabella?
Thank you for helping me.
As a reward, we do get this magical amulet that allows us to cast dancing lights in the area, and that will just illuminate wherever we are. It's kind of a cool little thing. However, it is more useful if we give it to Gale a little bit later on, so I'll do that in a later part. Looking at the map, what we want to do is go to the Emerald Grove Environs waypoint and then go directly toward the west. We're going to go into the village here that's still in the Shroud, and we can work on the Hellion's Heart side quest and get some infernal iron to upgrade Karlach's heart. That will help us to romance her going forward. Well, that's going to have to wait until part 10. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. I'll see you very soon for part 10. Until then, have a good day.